Thank you for joining me today here, Greg. You are the Senior Director of People Technology and Operations at Elara Caring, which is a very big job with a large distributed workforce, and you're in the process of implementing HRSD. And it's interesting, you're taking a very specific and intentional approach about how you handle organizational change management, OCM. Can you describe that a little bit? What were some of the unique nuances about the Elara Caring project?
Yeah, thanks, Jim. So one of the biggest challenges we were facing is adoption. And where we were really coming from is with 28,000 employees, most of them are on the go. And so we needed to change where they were going to get their support from. And that really comes from their HR support needs to be immediate and mobile. And that had to be the quick response that we were going for. They don't have time for long support calls and needed to be on our mobile.
For sure, for sure. So what made this part of the implementation particularly complex or unique?
So with those 28,000 employees, they absorb technology differently depending on the type of employees they are and their role in the organization. So some can be laptop users, some can be tablet users, and again, a different population are going to be bring your own devices, which are mostly smartphones. So they're ingesting technology uniquely different. So we had to determine by audience what was the use case for when they needed to go to the portal versus when they needed to call, and make that use case to those each audiences when they needed to do what type of request.
That's a great example. I'd like to drill down on that just a little bit because the user experience is so mission critical on these kinds of implementations. So what specifically did you do to lean in on the user experience? And really, what did you do with your team and enable them to lean in on this?
So in-house, we've got a pretty small team. And so what we wanted to do, rather than bringing in a traditional OCM consultant that was going to focus on a specific framework, we knew that ServiceNow already has a success framework that's got a lot of built-in resources that we could adopt to. So we were looking for a partner that could help with OCM, but also knew the product forward and backwards, that could focus just on the change and adoption. So that's where we went with Alcor, and we found a consultant that could really help isolate those audiences, focus on communications, and really help follow that success pack for us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you share a specific example on how that approach really worked out well for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the many different types of efforts where we were looking at the different audience types, we realized that each different employee group has unique features, and we're about to launch a scale back portal for a very specific population, and it's only going to have 3 HR services in it. And that seems really thin, but that's going to create such a deflection to our support center, and it's going to be very helpful to those employees. And it's a win-win that way, but that's where the support really needed to go. And that's what focusing on that change and adoption really taught us, is that's where it needed to go.
I love that approach. Could you share a specific example? What results did you see as a result of taking that approach?
Right, so we just had our first release of where we migrated from, we were on Employee Center, we just went to Employee Center Pro, we had our launch. Right off the bat, within the first month, we saw a 15% deflection rate from calls to the portal, and that was way above what we were looking for. So huge success there. Then what really caught us off was we built tours in place of the unique visitors that we had to the site on the first day. 35% completed a complete portal tour. And that was so exciting that the workforce was engaged enough to go and do those complete tours.
That is absolutely incredible. So finally, as we think about these kinds of implementations, what kind of advice would you share with other organizations who are thinking about embarking on this kind of journey? What specific examples would you share?
So absolutely, is not to conflate implementation and adoption.
Good point.
Keep them separate. They've got different goals, different agendas. Find a partner that can really focus on that adoption, and find a consultant that you can trust to make the decisions and recommendations, and really just make some overwhelming exciting decisions for your employees to really get in and make that change happen.
That is fantastic advice. We appreciate you sharing that with us and sharing that information with other companies. And it's really important, as you mentioned, how to balance the technical delivery with OCM aspects and having that kind of resource on your team, and how critically important that was. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for your time today.
Of course. Thank you.